I'm calling out to those who are running away, and I'm running away from those who are calling.
First thing I did was I wrote the poem, I Know the Radiant City. I wanted to bring in a sense of about cities, because I like cities. It's very deliberately got energy in it, and it's about, you know, it mentions trains, and it's very much about travel and what it's like existing in a metropolis, really. I was keen for it to not be the usual, like, you know, Harley Davidson. It's important. I don't want to really be associated with like usual rock stuff. So I wanted to bring some girls into it, really, and obviously Best Coast playing at the gig as well. I think that lent itself to, okay, well, I'll do this spoken word with a girl.
Waking up to our senses, we feel our surroundings.
And then another aspect of that, I thought rock and roll gets very, very England, America, England, America, England, America, and it's not really like that, I don't think, in the modern world. So that's why I wanted to find somebody who had a European accent, specifically.
My building, my train. I want poetry. I want real danger.
In doing that spoken word piece, which was first a poem, I knew it was going to be spoken word, and then it had an opportunity for me to then play some sort of different kind of music behind it, because it's a recording, not just a poem.
Transformation, every day. Thinking all the same.
That then was the springboard to the next element, which was this idea of a quote from Friedrich Schiller, which was keep true to the dreams of your youth. A quote was a good thing, I think, because it's a piece of language that maybe if one of the other bands wants to use as a springboard for a song, they can maybe get a lyric out of it. It has definite meaning. But again, I wanted to get away from just being all about the United States or the UK, so I just picked Germany, which has got a very, really strong rock heritage anyway. The idealism of keeping true to your dreams and being youthful about it as well. It doesn't have to be the dreams of your youth, but it is quite poetic. I thought that was a good one because it doesn't really need any more explanation than that. You either get something from the quote or you don't, you know. To pick something that relates to rock music but is actually a couple of 100 years old stops it being sort of the usual cliche of rock music just being about the 50s, 60s, the 70s and 80s, you know. The element that's called strum and drang came about because I felt it would have been a little weird had I not played the guitar. I needed to think of an interesting way of collaborating, so the natural thing would be to record something. I thought, well, if I make a little movie that the bands can go to a link online, I thought it's kind of good to bring the internet into it. They could just follow this link and see this little movie of just my hands. I like the idea of it just being my hands, because then it's like it's not about Johnny Marr, it's just a guitar player, you know, and it's more about just that loop of the guitar. As that cyclical piece of guitar music goes round and round, it kind of evolves. It has this kind of a sort of little story to it, just purely through guitar effects. So I'm playing the same kind of riff, going round and round, and the sound ever so subtly changes and changes, and then becomes quite radical. And then I made a technical decision, and again I thought, okay, well, we've got an opportunity here to make the sound change throughout. And I have put the music on one side of the stereo spectrum, and the little rhythm on the right. And that gives the musicians the freedom, if they want, to sample bits of the music that I put down. If it was me and I was being a smart ass, I'd just take the bit that goes and slow it down or something. The guy in the photograph, Matt, had a photograph that he really liked of Fellini sat in his director chair with a camera, And he talked to me about this photograph, which was essentially a photograph of a person is taking a photograph of somebody who is filming them. I got mine and Matt's friend Kay, who looks fantastic, to be filmed while she's taking the photograph of the guy. This idea that, you know, that girls are so used to being looked at, so he's filming her, but then also let's not pretend that girls aren't looking too. So she's watching him, watching her. And then you've got the third dimension to it, which is that I am taking the photograph of them two watching each other. So I just thought there's probably there's a fair bit of scope to try and get something out of that, really. I like the idea of a map, graphically. I thought a map was quite nice. Somewhere that had some kind of connection to rock history. There's this story that I found out about a gang of guys called the Bowery Boys, who, I think about 100 years ago or something, just were these very stylish young New York boys who used to kind of go out causing havoc and hanging around. I don't think they were, you know, like some kind of crime outfit too much, just a kind of a teen culture thing, really. It may musically spark off some sort of new wavy sort of association. Something that was visual but not a painting, because I thought that would have been a little obvious. When I started to think about the 5 parts, I tried to be natural. I thought it was important to bring something that, things that I'm interested in now. It seemed like a very creative kind of endeavour. You're collaborating with people you haven't ever met, which is great, and not in the obvious way. And it was, I've got to say, it was kind of a challenge, really, and I enjoyed the challenge.